Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers off to a 4-1 start, first place in the NFC North. Today, Favre will face fellow Mississippi native Jason Campbell and the 3-1 Redskins. Campbell, the reigning NFC Offensive Player of the Week. It's the Packers and the Redskins from Lambeau Field on Fox. Good afternoon and welcome to the NFL on Fox. I'm Kenny Albert, along with Troy Aikman for the Washington Redskins. Good news on the injury front. Both of their starting wide receivers were injured last week. Santana Moss did not play in the game against the Lions. Antoine Randall was hurt during the first half. Both Moss and Randall will start. Troy, the Redskins facing a Green Bay Packers club that got off to a 4-0 start and suffered a tough loss on Sunday night at the hands of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, it was a tough loss. It's been a tough week for him, coming off of a loss like that. I know in talking with Brett Favre and a number of other people within the Green Bay Packer organization, they still don't really know exactly how they've gotten to 4-1 or really how good they are. I think we'll get a good opportunity to find out here today, but they haven't done a good job running the football, and I don't anticipate that that's going to change much here today. So what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to continue to play good defense, which is what they've done, and then Brett Favre is going to have to be the guy that allows them to get the ball in position to score points.
And Troy, like the Packers, the Washington Redskins off to a good start at 3-1, thanks in large part to their quarterback, Jason Campbell.
It's been really remarkable, especially when you consider the injuries that they had even last week at the wide receiver position, as you mentioned. But yet his confidence has continued to grow each and every week. And as his confidence has grown, you can sense the team around him getting more and more confident within their club. They've not run the football particularly well. I think that's going to be important here today. But the thing that they've done a great job of throughout the early part of the season is they're playing great defense. Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, has got them playing, and I would expect them to be flying around again here today.
Well, the winner of today's game will still have only one loss after 6 weeks. It's the Packers and the Redskins next on Fox.
Watching Fox Sports, broadcasting in HD, and presented by DirecTV.
Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the All League.
Back in Green Bay, a 46-degree afternoon, chance of showers. It drizzled this morning here at Lambeau Field, as the Packers and the Redskins get set for the opening kickoff. Just Washington out with a hamstring injury, so 12-year veteran Randall Joffrey will start. Antoine Randall did not play in the second half last week against Detroit. He and Santana Moss both will start at wide receiver, and some shuffling on the Packers offensive line. Right guard Junius Costin is out, so all will start. The last time Joe Gibbs coached here at Lambeau, Jason Campbell was 4 years old back in 1986. Couple of world of NASCAR. Big Redskin fan on the left, Earnhardt Jr. and a Wisconsin native. Packers fanatic Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, and they had the race last night and made the trip here to Lambeau and Green Bay, and both big footballs we know.
They were in Charlotte last night. Packers have won the toss. Short kickoff by Sweezen, taken at the 9 by Tramon Williams. And Williams stopped at the 5-yard line, so Brett Favre will lead the Green Bay Packers out onto the field. 3 consecutive 300-yard games for Favre. Troy, for the first time in his career.
Yeah, that's really remarkable when you consider that here he is getting ready to embark on the all-time passing leader in the history of the game. That he's only done that for the first time. And in fact, in talking with him just yesterday, he said that he's only thrown for 400 yards one time in his career.
Wow. Packers start from their own 25. Favre to the air on first down. There's a penalty marker. Pass intended for Donald Driver. Terry McCauley, our referee.
Illegal contact, defense, number 24. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, Donald Driver trying to run a square, and it looked like at the top of the route, you're going to see Sean Springs playing inside technique and basically just shadowing him to keep him from getting to the inside. I think one of the big things about this Redskins defense here today, Kenny, is the fact that Green Bay had a lot of success this week against Chicago, throwing a lot of the inside routes. They want to play inside leverage on these Green Bay wide receivers.
Rookie Deshaun Wynn in the backfield, following the penalty, 1st and 10. Packers from their own 30. It's the fullback, Corey Hall. His 4th reception of the season, and Hall gains 7 out to the 37-yard line.
You know, Corey Hawley's been a pretty good, pretty productive player for Green Bay here over the last several weeks, and you know, he's one of many now in the National Football League that are playing fullback that was a linebacker in college or a linebacker in the NFL. It's amazing to me how many guys are taking over from the defensive side of the ball to man that position.
Linebacker last year at Boise State. 2nd down and 3. Favre looked right, throws left, intended for the tight end Donald Lee.
McIntosh on the coverage.
You know, a little different approach for Green Bay from where they opened up the game last week against the Chicago Bears. They've come out here today throwing the football. Think back to that game against Chicago when they opened it up by running the ball with Deshaun Wynn and were able to rattle off some pretty good chunks of yards. I know that Greg Williams is defensive coordinator for the Redskins. He really wants to see what the Green Bay Packers are going to be committed to doing here early in this game. Are they going to run the ball or are they going to throw it? So far, all we've seen is them throw it.
3 receivers set, 3rd down and 3. Favre over the top. Again, it's the fullback Hall. And Corey Hall, with his 2nd catch of this series, picks up 6 yards and a Packers 1st down.
You know, and this is one of the things that really frustrates a defensive unit, but yet it's something that Green Bay's been doing all season long. As a defense, you think you've got everybody covered down the field, the wide receivers, and then when the quarterback is patient and comes underneath to his checkdowns, as Brett Favre does here to Corey Hall, and you pick up a 1st down, that's demoralizing for a defense.
From the 44, the give to Deshaun Wynn, the 7th-round pick out of Florida, and he's forced back after a short gain of 1.
Well, maybe that's why they didn't run it so much there early in the game. The first few plays, they finally run the ball and they don't get much out of it, and yet, you know, there's this talk that, you know, hey, if Green Bay is going to ultimately be the team that they want to be late in the year, then somehow they've got to run the football better. I know that Mike McCarthy, he wants them to run the football better. He wants more balance. But the one thing that they have done is, if it's not working for them, they haven't continued to bang their head against the wall. They'll let Brett Favre try to manage the game and be patient with his throws.
Favre on 2nd and 9, the toss to Wynn, and he is into Redskins territory to the Washington 48, gain of 7.
You know, Deshaun Wynn had an interesting week this week because of the success that he had last week, and then he came up with cramps and was pretty limited there in the 2nd half after he had been so productive in the 1st half. And I know he has spent a lot of time this week hydrating himself with Gatorade. He has said that he's going to have Gatorade on the sideline with him throughout this ball game as well.
Coming off the national championship at the University of Florida last season. 3rd down and 2. Favre pump fakes. Now throws to the outside, and it's knocked down by Sean Taylor. Pass intended for the rookie, James Jones.
Well, Sean Taylor, he's had to take a little different approach to how he plays the game this year. Greg Williams has got him very, very deep in coverage, and he's going to be driving on this ball. You can see where he started right there at the numbers. He's got great range, and so for him to be able to go from the numbers and drive downhill on that ball was very impressive. Should have had an interception.
John Ryan punting for the 1st time, and a fair catch called for at the 10-yard line by Antoine Randall. 38-yard punt by Ryan. Jason Campbell on the Redskins offense coming up. Back in Green Bay, early first quarter, the 50th anniversary season here at Lambeau Field as Jason Campbell and the Redskins start from deep in their own territory. Campbell making his 12th NFL start. He has Clinton Portis in the backfield. The toss to Portis on first down. And Portis knocked out of bounds by Nick Barnett as we say hello for the first time this afternoon to Pam Oliver. Pam.
Hey, Kenny, Jason Campbell, poor Jason Campbell, can't get a word in edgewise with fellow Mississippi native Brett Favre. As you know, he famously dropped by Favre's Hattiesburg home over the summer, and Favre wasn't home, and to this day, Campbell doesn't consider that anything unusual. He told me earlier this week, it's not like I'm a stalker or anything. We do that all the time in the South. At least Favre is aware of the kid. He calls him a good young quarterback with a very big arm.
Well, they always break into people's houses in the South. Is that what you're saying?
Here's Portis, and he picks up the first down. My question to you, Troy, have any young quarterbacks ever just dropped by your house?
You know, I don't know that I want to answer that because unfortunately not. Of course, I don't live on a big 500-acre spread, you know, like Brett Favre. He makes it a little bit difficult for visitors to get in and see him.
Jason Campbell said he rang the call bell and nobody answered.
Did you say call bell or cowbell?
Either one. From the 22, nothing doing this time for Portis as he loses a yard. Johnny Jolly getting the push.
You know, the Redskins, if you look here over the last 3 games running the football, they have not been overly effective. In fact, for the season, they've not been overly effective. They do a good job in terms of giving their backs a lot of opportunities. So sometimes their ranking as far as how well they're doing running the football is a little skewed. But they're going to have their hands full trying to run the football against this defensive front for the Green Bay Packers.
Campbell on 2nd and 12. He fires, and the catch is made by the tight end Chris Cooley. And Cooley lost the football, but he was down, picks up 9 out to the 29-yard line.
Well, that's going to be one of the real matchups here today for the Redskins, and that is Chris Cooley inside, whether they're going to match him up with a safety or whether the Packers are going to put a linebacker on him. But because of the play of their corners, both Al Harris and Charles Woodson, they do an awfully good job of shutting down most teams' wide receivers. And so the matchups that favor the Redskins are going to be those skill players in the middle of the field, such as Chris Cooley there at tight end.
Moss split to the left. Thrash to the right. Campbell on 3rd and 3, a diving attempt, but Moss a catch.
Jason Campbell certainly runs the route, comes out of it to really pick up first down. They start in, there's the man coverage, and he gets Al Harris running so that once he comes out of the break, he's got separation, but Jason Campbell just not able to put it on him.
Derek Frost punting from his own 18-yard line. Woodson, Charles Woodson at the 35, and he's tripped up after a return of 2 by Lee Torrance. 36-yard punt. Brett Favre and the Packers coming up next. Redskins linebacker Marcus Washington out today with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, and we all know that he's a linebacker. I mean, they're going to miss his services there, but where I think he's been most impactful this year is on passing downs when he moves down to that defensive end pass rusher. He's been awfully good there. That's where they're going to miss him today.
Good field position for Brett Favre and the Packers, starting from their own 37-yard line. 2 tight ends. Deshaun Wade in the backfield. Favre to a wide open Donald Lee. Lee breaks free. Donald Lee is caught from behind inside the 5 by Sean Taylor. 60 yards from Favre to Lee.
You know, if you take a look at where these safeties are right here, they're playing deep, and so you're going to see them get down the middle, and that's where the weakness is to this defense. the safeties are playing so deep, trying to give help to the outside of the wide receivers, and then you got Donald Lee, who's going to the hole where they're vulnerable within that scheme, and Brett Favre read it perfectly.
The toss to Deshaun Wynn, and Wynn takes it into the end zone for a touchdown. Fourth touchdown of the season for Wynn. Mason Crosby adds the extra point, and the Packers take a 7-0 lead, set up by the longest reception of Donald Lee's career, and then Deshaun Wynn into the end zone. Seven 7-0 lead for the Packers. A two-play 63-yard drive, the 60-yard catch and run by Lee. Biggest offensive play for the Packers this season.
Yeah, and that's got to make them all feel real good. I know Brett Favre was saying that they've just not been able to create any big plays in the passing game. Well, that big play set up the touchdown.
Rock Cartwright on the return for the Redskins. Cartwright out to the 32. 26-yard return. First Lambeau leap of the afternoon. Deshaun Wynn. Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers won their first 4 games of the season. Lost to Chicago on Sunday night. Looking to make it 5-1 heading into their bye week. Off to a good start today. Jason Campbell and the Redskins start from their own 32. Mike Sellers, Clinton Portis in the backfield. Off the play fake, Campbell rolling right. He dumps it off to the tight end, Cooley. And Cooley is forced out of bounds after a gain of 3.
Yeah, watch the play action here on that throw by Brett Favre, and what Donald Lee is able to do there to Rocky McIntosh. He acts as if he was going to block him there, and that's why Rocky McIntosh came up, and it opened up the hole. Now Carlos Rogers, here's the play action which brought him up. Carlos Rogers had a chance to make a tackle. He's given up 50 pounds. You know, trying to bring him to the ground. No excuse, should still have been able to do that. But just well executed play there by the Packers.
Play action on 2nd and 6. Campbell to the outside, and it's broken up, knocked down by Al Harris. Santana Moss, the intended receiver, as we check in with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles. Kurt.
Well, guys, the Eagles can only play well in games where someone has an ugly uniform on. That's the Jets they're taking on. Kevin Curtis, 75-yard touchdown reception, his 4th of the season. His other 3 in that game against the Lions, where the Eagles wore the ugly unis. Back in 7 minutes or less, Kenny, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Kurt, the Jets wearing their throwback uniforms, going all the way back to the days of the New York Titans.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles, this is a big game for them. I mean, 1-3 coming into it, and the way the Giants are playing, and the Redskins and Cowboys, it's a chance for them to get back in the hunt.
Here's Portis out of the backfield, and Clinton Portis has a Redskins first down.
You know, Clinton Portis is one of those guys that I've just always been impressed with, and you see him limping off just a little bit. He injured his knee a few weeks back in the New York Giants game, and then he re-aggravated again last week. It looks like that tackle may have caused him to re-aggravate it again.
There's Liddell Betts on the sidelines as well. Mike Sellers, the lone back. 3 wide receivers. Off the play fake to Sellers. Campbell with time, and the pass is caught by Randall, and Antoine Randall tackled by Atari Bigby, but not before he picks up another Redskin first down.
You take a look here at Chris Cooley, and this is what makes him pretty unique. I mean, not only is he a good wide receiver, but now he's blocking one of the best pass rushers in the game today. Aaron Campman had 15 and a half sacks last year. And Jason Campbell showing great patience on that throw, not forcing anything down the field.
First carry of the game for Liddell Betts, and Betts found a hole and takes it down to the Green Bay 37, a gain of 7.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the Redskins and how they have struggled running the football, I think Liddell Betts is probably the guy they'd like to see get going a little bit more. You see his average there at only 2.8 yards per carry, well below where he was a year ago when he was filling in for Clinton Portis and ran for well over 1,000 yards.
Including 5 straight 100-yard games last season. Second down and 3. Inside handoff, Sellers. And Mike Sellers has a first down, a gain of 6. The guy the Redskins went to frequently last week.
Well, yeah, I mean, last week was a career day for Mike Sellers. He says he's been lobbying to Joe Gibbs for weeks and weeks about getting more involved in the offense. He wants to touch the football. You know, I know in talking with Al Saunders, he said that he's a blocker first, a receiver second, and a runner third. Well, I don't think that Mike Sellers agrees with that, and at least here over the last 2 weeks, he, in my opinion, has really been more of a runner.
Off the play fake to Portis, who's back in the game. Campbell couldn't find it one downfield. Here's Cooley. Cooley inside the 20, the 15, the 10. And it's knocked out of bounds by Nick Barnett at the Packers 3, a 28-yard pass play.
Yeah, and it looked like Chris Cooley, he's going to engage as a blocker first. And so A.J. Hawk, who would have been covering him, just figures that he's not going to go out on the route. And then Chris Cooley goes out and picks up a pretty good gain. Obviously, there's nobody out there then to take him. Actually, it was not A.J. Hawk. It was Brady Papinga who was locked up with him man-to-man in coverage, but didn't stay with him when Cooley showed that he was blocking.
First and goal from the 3. Portis bottled up, forced back. Loss of 3 yards on the play as both teams shuffle personnel. Defensive coordinator Bob Sanders. 9th play of the drive for the Redskins. Thrash split to the left. Sellers shifting. Second and goal from the 6. Campbell takes off. Jason Campbell dives. There's a penalty marker. Campbell into the end zone for a touchdown. There is a flag on the field.
Yeah, that's usually in the area of a defensive hold.
Illegal contact. Defense number 50. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
You know, Jason Campbell, here's where he's continuing to show the poise each and every week. He wants to get the ball down the field. Not really a big scrambler, but he's certainly capable of it when he does. You know, I thought he got a little lackadaisical there at the goal line when he was going to get it in. Nevertheless, he did score.
His first career rushing touchdown in the NFL. Sean Sweezum adds the extra point, so the Redskins come right back and have tied this game at 7. Jason Campbell and the Redskins march down the field following the Packers touchdown. Campbell 4 of 5 on the drive in the air, and then he scored his first career rushing touchdown.
You know, I think that's important when you're playing on the road, and Green Bay has the quick score on 2 plays when they had the ball in their last possession to come back and answer that. You know, that's a big drive there for the Redskins on the road.
Sweezum's kickoff taken at the 8 by Williams. Tremont Williams across the 25, taken down at the 26-yard line by Rock Cartwright. 18-yard return. Well, today a travel day in the American League. The ALCS continues on Fox tomorrow night, Monday night at 7 Eastern. And what about the job David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez have done for the Red Sox during this postseason? But the Indians pulled out game 2 last night with 7 runs in the 11th inning.
Yeah, that was an impressive win by Cleveland to do what they were able to do and not up this series at 1-1. Should be a lot of fun down the stretch.
So now the Indians go home. Game 3 on Fox tomorrow night, 7 Eastern. Packers start from their own 26. Off the play fake. Favre to the outside. Pass intended for Greg Jennings as we check in once again with Kurt.
Kenny, how many times rookie? Back to Kenny, Troy, and Pat.
All right, Kurt. Well, the Packers kept the ball away from Devin Hester on Sunday night. Not the case today against Minnesota. Favre out of the shotgun, 2nd and 10. He fires. He was looking for Donald Driver.
Smooth on the coverage.
You know, Green Bay last week was so successful throwing those slant routes against Chicago. And I know Washington was going to do everything that they could in this game to try to take that away. Not that Green Bay's not going to be able to complete some of those slant passes, but you're going to see Washington playing a little bit more inside technique with their corners to try to keep them from having free releases and free runs on the slant, and Favre putting the ball into their hands.
3rd down and 10. Packers have to get to the 36 for a first down. 3 wide receivers. Favre on 3rd and 10 hits Vernon Morency out of the backfield, but
complete to Morency.
He's only able to gain 7, needed 10, so the Packers will punt.
Yeah, and that's a real good example of really what Brett Favre has had to do throughout this season. Is teams are playing so much coverage against them because they don't respect the Packers' running game that he's just had to be patient. And I asked him yesterday if that has frustrated him at all. He said it hasn't, that he just understands that that's part of it and how he has to play here this year.
Fair catch called for at the 28-yard line by Antoine Randall with the Packers. And the Redskins tied at 7. And Troy, I know you've been impressed with Jason Campbell so far this season.
You know, I really have. And, you know, he finally got his opportunity. You always ask the question with a young quarterback who comes in the first round, you know, when do you play him? Do you play him as, you know, from day one, his rookie year? Do you wait? And there's examples of guys that have had success doing it a lot of different ways. You know, I know he didn't play his first year and a half. He got in there last year, and he's done a good job. And you can just see the maturation and the confidence in him with each and every game. You know, coming off really his best game of his young career last week against Detroit.
Threw for a career high 248 yards against the Lions. Here's Portis. Stutter step. And brought down at the 34-yard line. Gain of 6 for Clinton Portis.
I was talking about Clinton Portis a little bit earlier about the injury that he has to his knee. He does have some inflammation that occurs periodically there. Felt pretty healthy coming into this game, but he is such a physical running back. I don't know that I've seen a guy in this league currently that's as physical with and without the ball as what Clinton Portis is. I just don't see him as being a long-term player in this league because he plays so hard and so physical.
Missed a couple of plays earlier. Campbell in trouble. Wrapped up and then taken down. Colin Jenkins applying pressure. And the question is, sack or did he get rid of the ball in time? It looks like it will be an intentional grounding.
Offense number 17. 10-yard penalty, loss of down, 3rd down.
Now you got to take a look. Now he's going to have to get outside the tackle box there where it began. Now does he get out or is he in the pocket? He is in the pocket. And then the ball also has to get not necessarily across the line of scrimmage, but within the vicinity of the line of scrimmage. I think that he was called more there for not getting outside the pocket.
3rd and 14 from the 24.
Obviously, Joe Gibbs doesn't like the call.
No. So it is now 3rd down and 14. Redskins need the 38-yard line for a first. Campbell throws, and the catch is made by Chris Cooley. And he is right around the first down marker.
You know, Aaron Campman, as I was talking about a little bit earlier, really a great pass rusher. He's going against Todd Wade. and you're going to see him come off the edge there, 74, which causes Campbell to step up into the pocket. And you can tell by the way Campbell comes out, he's not really a runner, and by that I mean he's looking to get the ball out of his hands for an open receiver, finds Cooley, and there's a nice first down.
Cooley's 4th reception of this first quarter. From the 38, off the play fake. Campbell looking for Cooley again off his fingertips. A.J. Hawk on the coverage.
This front 7 for Green Bay, they really do a good job of bringing pressure and getting after the quarterback. And this was a close one, close to being a real big gain here for Washington, just off the hands there of Chris Cooley. But there's the pressure. They brought Brady Papinga as well as Nick Barnett inside. Barnett was able to get there, but not until after Campbell got it out of his hands.
3 wide receivers, Randall L. in the slot. 2nd and 10, inside handoff, Portis. Portis out to the 44-yard line as he gains 6.
A pretty good idea of the type of moves that Clinton Portis has. You know, I was asked yesterday, Kenny, what I thought about the trade that took place several years ago between the Denver Broncos and the Washington Redskins, the Champ Bailey, Clinton Portis trade. And, you know, I think both teams really benefited from it. You know, Mike Shanahan has had the ability to find guys that can run the football. Redskins certainly like to run the ball, but, you know, I wonder what Clinton Portis thought of that, because the yards have been a lot harder to come by here in Washington than what they were those first 2 years in Denver.
A rare trade of superstars in the NFL. Campbell backpedaling on 3rd and 4. He's in trouble. Throws it across the field, out of bounds, up into the stands.
You know, we talk about this Green Bay defensive front and what they're able to do, and Aaron Campman is really off to a good start here today. I mean, he's one of those guys who's just relentless. He goes right through Todd Wade to put the pressure on Jason Campbell, and I can guarantee you he's going to be doing that all day long.
Second punt by Frost. Bounces into the end zone for a touchback. So the Packers will start at their own 20-yard line. And we take you back to the first pass that Brett Favre ever threw in the NFL, Troy. It was at RFK Stadium as a member of the Falcons. Picked off, returned for a touchdown by Andre Collins of the Redskins.
He looks like he's about 11 there, doesn't he? Wow.
In that game, Mark Rippon tied a Redskins franchise record, 6 touchdown passes. November of '91. First pass thrown by Brett Favre in the National Football League. The slant to Jennings. And Greg Jennings gains 7. Now, we asked Favre what he remembers about that game, and Jerry Glanville's name came up, his head coach in Atlanta that year, and he said, Jerry probably said to me, Mississippi, you're in the game.
Yeah, Jerry Glanville was one of the real characters in the game, as we all know.
Our former colleague at Fox, and now the head coach at Portland State. End of the first quarter at Lambeau. Tied at 7.
To be young again.
The rain has started to come down here at Lambeau Field as we start the second quarter. Kenny Albert, Troy Aikman, Pam Oliver. Packers and Redskins tied at 7. Second down and 2. Deshaun Wynn. Wynn fights his way up to the 29-yard line, setting up a 3rd down and 1. Wynn running behind a reshuffled Packers offensive line. A look at Tony Mall starting at right guard for the injured Junius Costin, and Jason Spitz taking over at center for the injured Scott Wells.
Yeah, and Jason Spitz has primarily been a guard, and now he's playing center, so obviously some adjustments that have to take place there. Tony Mall has played. He played 10 starts last year, but now he's in there playing right guard himself, and so that doesn't help with the running game either.
Off the play fake on 3rd and 1. Favre chased from behind. He picks up the first down. Andre Carter brought him down, but Favre able to gain enough.
And I bet Favre's hoping they don't do that one again. You're going to see Andre Carter come around here, and he sees it the entire way. He's got great acceleration, and I bet Brett Favre initially, I mean, there was a day when that wouldn't even have been that close. But I don't know if he knows Andre Carter is on his heels or not. But he was able to get just enough. I think he's thinking to himself, I hope that's the last time we call that play.
Do quarterbacks have that sixth sense? Do you know when a guy's chasing after you?
I never did. Which is why my career was shortened.
From the 31 on first down. Oh, Favre takes a big hit from Anthony Montgomery. And Tony Mall falls on top of the football.
Yeah, Anthony Montgomery, I mean, Brett Favre has a tendency to slide up in the pocket like this. And that was a fumble. You know, the ball's been coming out here in recent weeks. They call that the empty hand. If the arm starts forward and the ball's not in possession, then it is ruled a fumble. But a good job there of Maul getting on it.
Maul falling on the ball.
Maul on the ball.
Loss of 7 on the play.
First charge timeout. Green Bay.
Packers use their first timeout early second quarter in the rain, tied at 7.
2nd and 17 from the 24.
Rain coming down a little harder here in Green Bay. Redskins and Packers tied at 7. Empty backfield, 2nd down and 17. Everybody out for the Packers. And the pass is caught by the tight end Lee. But Sean Springs was right there to make the tackle, a gain of just 1.
You know, this really has become a guessing game with Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator for the Redskins, and what he believes the Green Bay Packers are going to try to do. You think back to last week in that game against Detroit. He gave the Lions every opportunity to run the football, but he knew that with Mike Martz as the offensive coordinator, they were going to be committed to throwing the football. In today's game, he's wanted to play coverage, make Green Bay run the ball against the 7-man front. However, the big pass play came when Greg Williams was playing coverage. And so far, he's had to mix it up pretty good.
On 3rd and 16, this is Morency. And Morency is tackled from behind by Pearson Prelo. So the Packers once again will punt. Nice defensive play by Chris Wilson, who Greg Williams speaks very highly of.
Yeah, Chris Wilson, he spent 2 years there in Canada, and you know, he's a guy who can just really run, and that's a characteristic of this entire Redskin defense, their ability to run sideline to sideline. It's one of the reasons why they've been as effective as they've been as a defensive unit this year.
Randall out lets the punt bounce out of bounds, setting up terrific field position for the Washington Redskins. Two surprise teams, the 4-1 Packers, 3-1 Redskins. Tied at 7. Windshield wipers for our cable cam.
I need to get him over to my house. He does windows.
Do you have a cable cam at home?
No, but I got windows.
Santana Moss in motion. 1st and 10 from the 40. Clinton Portis. 1st down and more. All the way down to the Packers 40-yard line. Finally tackled by Nick Collins.
I think that's an element of Clinton Portis' game that he probably doesn't get as much credit for as what he probably should. His ability to catch the football, and obviously then once he gets out in space, he's really dangerous. But you know, watching him right now, we saw him limp off a little bit earlier with what appeared to be the re-aggravation of the knee that's been bothering him, and even right now on that run, he doesn't look like he's running like the Clinton Portis we're used to seeing.
From the Packers 39, it's Portis again. Brady Papinga makes the tackle, gain of 2.
I know last week they were so dependent on Jason Campbell, and he really responded well with the way that he played and threw the football, and was able to move the team down the field and score points. But I just know that Joe Gibbs wants to run the football much more effectively than what they've run it here over the past, really the entire season, but especially here over the last 3 games.
Mike Pacillo, number 62, an eligible receiver. Off the play fake, Campbell to Sellers, but Brady Papinga was right there. Gain of just 1 as we check in once again with Kurt.
Kenny, for Packer fans, I
think, Kenny, you look back at last week's game. I mean, Green Bay really had them on the ropes, and sometimes for a team, a win like that, as improbable as what it appeared at one time, can really propel a team into great things. And we may be looking back on that win by Chicago saying that's what got them going.
3rd down and 7. The pass was deflected and then intercepted by Charles Woodson. Randall L trying to wrestle the ball away, but it is ruled an interception, first of the season for Woodson. Redskin trainers tending to Antoine Randall L. First turnover of the game. First interception thrown by Campbell, his last 96 pass attempts. So the Packers start from their own 26-yard line. Favre's pass was batted. Incomplete, intended for Donald Driver.
Yeah, you go back and look at the interception. It's unfortunate because even though this is a high ball, it's one that Santana Moss certainly should have been able to catch. And it looked like it was a simultaneous catch between Charles Woodson and then Antoine Randall L. If that is the case, then the ball maintains in the possession of the Washington Redskins because a simultaneous catch goes to the offense. But that is a judgment ruling by the official. He ruled that Charles Woodson had it, and he's explaining to Joe Gibbs that you in fact cannot challenge that call.
Cannot challenge a judgment call. 2nd down and 10. Favre off his back foot, dropped by Deshaun Wynn.
To go back to that throw by Jason Campbell, again, it's a ball that Santana Moss certainly should have caught, but anytime you start throwing balls above the shoulder pads where a guy has to get his hands up, that's what generally can happen, because when it's then incomplete, the ball is going up in the air and there's a lot of bodies over there that have the ability to intercept it.
There's Moss. Packers have to get to the 36. Favre steps up on 3rd down and 10. Now he throws incomplete. Greg Jennings, the intended receiver, so Green Bay unable to capitalize on the Washington turnover.
Well, it's a good job by the defense. Anytime there's a change of possession like that, in order to maintain field advantage, to come out and then go 3 plays and then get the ball right back into your offense's hands, that's a good job. A lot of emotional swings that take place, but a good defensive stop.
Ball takes a Packer roll. There's a flag on the field, and it finally comes to a halt at the 36-yard line.
Prior to the kick, holding, kicking team, number 35. 10-yard penalty added to the end of the play. 1st down, timeout.
Corey Hall, the guilty Packer. Redskins back on offense when we come back. Coming up next week, Week 7, a Fox NFL doubleheader. Get things started with the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show beginning at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And the big late game, the Minnesota Vikings will visit Dallas.
Big late game today in Dallas with them facing off with the with the New England Patriots. And I'll tell you, I think that's going to be a heck of a game.
Both teams 5-0. Here's Campbell on first down. Can't find anyone. Down he goes back at the 44-yard line.
You know, this is a game that Washington feels like they may be able to take some shots down the field. Watch 85 there, Brandon Lloyd. He's going to try to take the deep post. But Jason Campbell just, again, Aaron Campman pushing Todd Wade right back into his face, which didn't allow him the time to turn it loose on a deep throw.
And Colin Jenkins credited with the sack. 2nd and 12, the toss. Portis takes it up to the 48-yard line. As we check in downstairs with Pam.
Yeah, Kenny, as the weather gets nastier, equipment guys from both teams are getting busier. I noticed the Redskins pulled out the heavier coats. Somebody even ran back into the locker room to retrieve some ski hats. Receiver Antoine Randall, he's changed his shoes a couple of times. I keep waiting, Kenny, for them to pull out those nice little hand warmers so I can bum a pair. Back to you.
They'll try and send one down.
Yeah, we'll get you whatever you want down there.
3rd down and 8. Cooley shifting. Redskins have to get to the 44. Penalty marker as Campbell throws it away.
Penalty marker down.
Illegal contact, defense, number 21. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Charles Woodson and the Packers, Troy, lead the league in illegal contact calls.
And the reason that they do, there's Charles Woodson, the reason that they do is because they come up and they jam the receivers and they play very physical. Right there, as Randall L's trying to come out of the break, did not really look like all that much. But sometimes it doesn't take that much. They got Jason Campbell outside the pocket, trying to get the receivers running up the field and get right to the first down marker, but a nice first down for the Redskins there on the penalty.
In fact, it's the first down they have earned all season via penalty. So the Redskins go from a 3rd and 8 situation to an automatic first down.
Yeah, and on the other hand, the Green Bay Packers, I mean, they have given up a few first downs because of penalty. And again, I mean, that's really the style of this defensive unit. And they're exceptional corners. Al Harris and Charles Woodson are outstanding. But when you're going to challenge receivers, play aggressive and physical, as disruptive as that is to an offensive group, sometimes you're going to have those types of competitive penalties.
2nd down and 6. Inside handoff to Betts. And Liddell Betts takes it down to the 41-yard line. Gain of 3 on the play.
You know, Charles Woodson came here last year and had a terrific season and had 8 interceptions and, in my opinion, should have been in the Pro Bowl. And, you know, his first 4 years in Oakland, he was in the Pro Bowl. And then he had some injuries in Oakland. And to be honest with you, when he came to Green Bay, I thought he was kind of winding his career down. But he's running well right now. I talked to him the other day. He says he feels as good as he's felt in a long time. And he's playing very, very well.
He led the NFC last season with 8 picks. 3rd down and 3. Campbell bounces away from Randall L. Would have had a first down.
You know, you think back to last week and the game that Jason Campbell had. Part of that is getting into a rhythm and completing passes. Well, he's had a couple opportunities here in this game where the receivers have let him down a little bit. Antoine Randall L fails to catch that one. They would have picked up the first down. Fortunate that it was not an interception. And then the one Santana Moss let go through his hands, which was an interception.
We highlighted both Moss and Randall L in our open. Both injured last week, both in the lineup, but having trouble catching the football today as the Redskins are unable to keep the punt out of the end zone. Good effort by Lee Torrance.
I've been watching that show.
I heard.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good show. Kelsey Grammer does a good job, and he reminds me of a guy I used to work with.
Is that right?
Kelsey Grammer's character in the show, yes. And he's still working for Fox, doing a little baseball, and he goes by the name of Dick Stockton.
Not sure he's ever been compared to Kelsey Grammer before.
I don't know what all that means. But
although they both spent a lot of time in Boston. Bubba Franks unable to make the catch. You know, if you did have cable cam in your house, we could watch you watching back to you.
You know, I don't want to think of what exactly anyone would be watching if I had cable cam in my house. You know what I'm saying? Apparently not.
We need that windshield wiper again.
Yeah.
So no cable cam and no young quarterback stalking you. 2nd and 10. Favre does a 360, and now he fires downfield, and it's nearly intercepted by Sean Taylor. Pass was intended for the second-year receiver out of Western Michigan, Greg Jennings.
Yeah, this is a ball that Brett Favre tried throwing a little bit late, and Sean Taylor had a great opportunity, obviously, to make the play. Those are catches that these guys don't spend a lot of time working on, you know, over the shoulder like that. But having said it, it's one that he certainly should have been able to bring in.
Remember, the next time Favre is intercepted, it will set a new NFL record. He's tied with George Blanda. 3rd down and 10. Jennings makes the catch, but is tackled at the 26-yard line by Rocky McIntosh, 4 yards shy of the marker. And Brett Favre playing his first game today, Troy, as a 38-year-old. Celebrated a birthday on Wednesday of this past week. In fact, he shares his birthday with Dale Earnhardt Jr.,
who's here today.
Dale turned 33 on Wednesday, and Brett turned 38. Fair catch called for by Randall L. at the 37-yard line. Game 3 of the American League Championship Series coming up on Fox tomorrow night. From Cleveland, Joe Buck, Tim McCarver will have the call. They worked late last night into the wee morning hours on the East Coast. Game ended about 1:15 a.m. Eastern time. Series shifts to Cleveland for Game 3 tomorrow.
Now I have a question for you. I mean, do you look up all this information about whose birthdays are when, or do you have somebody who puts all this together for you?
As I told Tony Siragusa last week when he asked me the same question on the air.
Don't tell me Siragusa stole my question.
I spend many hours in a dark room during the week researching this stuff.
First down.
Found that one last night. 11 yards for Portis.
1st and 10 from the 48.
Under 5 minutes remaining, second quarter. With the Packers and the Redskins tied at 7. Again, Portis, this time
Portis, the ball
bottled
carrier.
up.
Barnett on the tackle.
Nick Barnett, Cullen Jenkins in on the tackle.
Yeah, this defensive front for Green Bay, I mean, they really are one of the strengths of this group. I think their front four is
2nd and 11 from the 47.
And no specific front four, because they really do a good job of rotating their guys. And then, of course, their 2 corners as well. It's just a very difficult team to run the football against effectively, you know, play in and play out.
Campbell on 2nd and 11. Wide open is Cooley, and Chris Cooley picks up a Redskins first down, his 5th catch of the first half.
And we saw a little bit earlier in the game some of the pressure that Jason Campbell was under. This time he gets ample protection up front. You'll see the pocket that forms to where he can step up and then deliver the throw there to Chris Cooley, who did a nice job coming out of his route and creating some separation there on Brady Papinga.
Cullen Jenkins of the Packers shake it up. Redskins have also lost Their starting right tackle Todd Wade out with a groin injury, replaced by rookie out of Maryland, Stefan Heyer.
Yeah, Stefan Heyer, his story is somewhat interesting. He started all 4 preseason games at left tackle, had never played right tackle, and then in week 1 against the Dolphins, when John Jansen goes down, he played right tackle and played actually very well in that game.
Campbell again finds Cooley, his 6th reception, another Washington first down, a gain of 12.
Yeah, so then you're going to see Stefan Heyer right here at right tackle, and the job that he does picking up the blitz. Brady Papinga trying to take the inside gap, and then he collapses it just as you're supposed to do. I mean, for him to be able to do what he was able to do in week 1 against Jason Taylor, one of the premier pass rushers for the Dolphins, and then come in here today and see those types of things, you can tell this is a smart player.
From the 25, Campbell hitting Liddell Betts, and Betts picks up another Redskin first down with 2:45 remaining in the half.
Yeah, and I think that right now, Jason Campbell, you know, he really wants to get some easier throws so he can get into a little bit better rhythm. I know that, you know, as a quarterback, sometimes you want to take some shots down the field, but if you never really get into a rhythm in the ball game, it's hard then to get completely comfortable and get confident with what it is that you're seeing. Right now, Al Saunders is calling some things to allow that to happen.
Take it out to the 10-yard line by Sellers. And 9 of 11 completions today for Campbell, Troy, have gone to the tight end Cooley and the running backs.
Yeah, and that, again, I mean, that was the matchup that Al Saunders felt that they needed to take advantage of because of how good the Green Bay Packer corners are. Those were the matchups that were going to favor the Redskins.
Coming up, the Visa halftime report with Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy. They will bring you scores and highlights, and the Fox Sports Ticker will keep you updated with up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report. Colin Jenkins heading in to have his knee checked out. 2nd and 6 for the Redskins from the Packers 11. The toss to Portis. Charles Woodson coming up to make the play.
That's a really good job by Charles Woodson. You just don't see a lot of corners in this league that want to come up and get physical and make plays, you know, as far as coming up and making a tackle on a running back. And we've seen it now from him for several games. A good stop on a great running back out in the open field.
A loss of 3 on the play. Now 3rd and 9 from the Green Bay 14. And Campbell calls timeout. Redskin receivers unable to hang on to the football today.
Yeah, they've had a couple problems, and you wonder how much has the rain had to do with it, you know. And maybe on some of them it has. I don't know that it did necessarily there on the one that Sean Taylor dropped, but you know, maybe for Santana Moss, the one that went through his hands on the interception, and then the one that Antoine Randall L failed to catch, that would have given the Redskins a first down. You know, so many times these guys, they got these gloves, and they've gotten better and better. The gloves have over the years that they're so tacky that I really don't think the rain is much of an issue in these types of games for the wide receivers. It generally is more for the quarterbacks, but again, in talking with Jason Campbell, he said he almost prefers the inclement weather because the ball gets a little bit more tacky itself.
Campbell on 3rd and 9, looking for Cooley. He makes the catch for a touchdown. There is a flag at the 4-yard line. It's against the Packers. So Chris Cooley with a touchdown reception for the 4th consecutive game.
Defense. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
Well, Chris Cooley's become the guy that they look for when they get down here in the red zone, and you see he runs the flat and then up the sideline. Call that the wheel route. Nobody even really went with him to the flat. Therefore, nobody was with him when he turned it up and went to the front pylon of the end zone.
Sweezan adds the extra point. So Chris Cooley, who came into this game, Troy, with only 10 catches in 4 games this season, with a career day in the first half alone. He has 7 receptions for a career high 97 yards and his 4th touchdown of the season.
Yeah, and I think that everyone was just wondering when exactly it was going to happen. I mean, knowing that it was going to happen, because Chris Cooley is just too good of a football player and has been too productive for this Redskins team not to be more involved than what he had been coming into this game. And you're right. I mean, he's had a big first half here. He's caught some balls that have given him some first downs, and then he catches the big play there that gives him the touchdown. And you know, you can tell that Jason Campbell has a great deal of confidence in him. And I've always said, I mean, those interior guys, generally it is the tight end. Sometimes it's also a running back, but those guys can really do a lot for a young quarterback and giving him some clean throws to throw the football. And Chris Cooley does a good job of getting open.
Campbell perfect on the drive. 4 for 4, 52 yards. And the Redskins have their first lead of the afternoon.
Well, that was a big drive by the Redskins to put points on the board. Now we'll see what Green Bay can do in their no-huddle offense.
Taken out to 12 by Tramon Williams. And Williams cut down just shy of the 20 by Pearson Prelo, who came up limping. So Brett Favre and the Packers with 1:07 and 2 timeouts. Favre 7 of 16, 96 yards. Deshaun Wynn has the only Packer touchdown, set up by the 60-yard catch and run by Donald Lee.
Yeah, and so again, I mean, the Packers just are not running the football very effectively, and as a coach, it's hard to keep then calling running plays when you're not having more success. And so I would expect to see the ratio of pass to run go up dramatically on the passing side.
Packers empty the backfield. And on first down, Favre's pass is caught by Greg Jennings for a gain of 6, tackled by Rocky McIntosh.
And this is an area where I've always felt that Brett Favre is very good when he gets into the no-huddle offense. It didn't work so well for him at the end of last week's game, but generally he does a great job.
Favre on 2nd and 4, hitting Morency out of the backfield. And Vernon Morency takes it across the 30 for a Packer first down. And Morency remains down. He talked about the Packers running back situation. Morency was the starter heading into training camp. He injured his knee on the first day of camp. So the 2nd round pick Brandon Jackson took over. He's now out with a shin injury, which is why Deshaun Wynn made yet another start today.
Boy, they have really had a lot of bad luck at that running back position. And you know, you mentioned Brandon Jackson. He has missed the last 2 games, but he practiced this week and probably could have played. But you know, they go with Vernon Morency. Now if he's unable to go, now all of a sudden they're back to Deshaun Wynn and then Ryan Grant, you know, a first-year player. And so they've just not been able to get locked in with any one guy and then build game plans around what that particular guy does best.
A look at Brandon Jackson on the sidelines. Deshaun Wynn back in the game, replacing Morency. Favre pump fakes, and now he throws, and the catch is made by Ruvel Martin. Martin picks up a first down, 17-yard pass play.
That was a great throw by Brett Favre. These safeties for Washington get exceptionally deep, probably as deep as any safeties in the NFL, and that's why there was not a safety coming over the top until after the catch, Sean Taylor. But a well-thrown ball by Brett Favre, getting it over Fred Smoot's hand, and then into the sidelines to stop the clock.
Morency back in. 1st and 10 from the 47. Favre over the middle, and it's caught. Donald Driver down at the Redskins' 37-yard line. Packers have 1 timeout remaining. Favre will spike it, stops the clock with 19 seconds remaining in the half. as the Packers get closer to field goal range.
It's just a good job there by Brett Favre of moving around within the pocket and then finding Donald Driver. And really, Donald Driver is that guy for Brett Favre. Whenever he really needs to find somebody in a big moment, Donald Driver is the guy he's always looking for.
And that was Driver's first catch today. Morency out of the backfield. And Morency with a couple of nice moves takes it down to the Washington 28. Clock continues to run.
Well, they could have called a timeout and taken one more shot, you know, down the field, possibly into the end zone. Can you come away with a touchdown? But they decided not to try that and just run the clock down and be happy with a field goal going in.
Packers will send out the rookie out of Colorado, the 6th-round draft pick Mason Crosby, who has hit on 9 of 10 attempts, including a 53-yarder against Philadelphia. Crosby will attempt a 46-yard field goal. John Ryan is the holder. Rob Davis will snap it. Looking to bring the Packers within 4. Redskins call timeout. Something we have seen on numerous occasions this year prior to field goal attempts at the end of games. Does Monday night ring a bell?
Well, there's a lot of games now. I mean, you can't hardly even watch a college game on Saturday without seeing all that going on. And, you know, at least Washington didn't wait until right before the ball was snapped like we've been seeing. But, you know, I think they've got to do something with that rule. I'd really be surprised if at the end of this season they don't get together, the competition committee, and make some adjustments to where that doesn't happen any longer.
How about Nick Folk of the Cowboys hitting twice from 52 yards out in Buffalo in front of a raucous crowd on the road on Monday?
That was an impressive job on his part. I was going to say impressive win. I don't know how impressive it was. It was improbable.
So here's Crosby from 46. It is wide to the left. So Crosby unable to put 3 points on the board for the Packers, and the Redskins lead at the half is 7.
Yeah, and I think this is a significant miss too. I mean, the Redskins went down, they got a touchdown. I've always felt that even if you're behind, if you're able to come away with points before the end of a half, it's significant as to how that carries over into the second half.
Redskins lead 14-7. The Visa halftime report is next.
Discrepancy when it comes to that, but you know, coming into the game, these are two teams that, you know, nobody really, even themselves, knows what to expect from them. But it is a big game because I think that when it's all said and done, I do believe that Green Bay is going to be there, and I do believe that Washington's going to be there. And so now playoff implications become important, and who wins what games. And so, you know, this is a game between two evenly matched teams, and that's how it was played here in this first half.
What do you expect in the second half?
You know, I expect a lot of the same. You know, I mean, I think they're trying to still figure out exactly, you know, how it is that they're going to attack them. I think Green Bay's trying to figure that out right now. I don't know that they're going to have any more success running the football in the second half than what they had there in the first half. And, you know, now can they convert on third downs? I think that, you know, you look back to last week, the difference really in that first half for Green Bay against Chicago and the second half was the fact that they just could not maintain the ball on third downs by converting on third downs. That's going to be a real key for them here in this second half.
Big question for the Packers coming into this game. Will they be able to run the football, which they did in the first half against Chicago, not in the second half. And Mike McCarthy's club in the first half today ran for only 14 yards.
Yeah, and they didn't get many opportunities. But, you know, I think that here we are, you know, into week 6, and we're talking about Green Bay each week about their inability to run the ball. They may never be able to run the ball, and they may just have to change the way in which they do things and continue to rely on Brett Favre.
Rock Cartwright on the return for the Redskins, hurdles out to the 20 4-yard line as we say hello once again to Pam Oliver. Pam.
Hey there, Kenny. Joe Gibbs under no illusions. He's figuring this game is going to be back and forth the entire way. But for that to happen, the Packers are going to have to get things going. Mike McCarthy told me at the half we were very sloppy on offense. He says we got to find our rhythm there. Defensively, he said Chris Cooley was our #1 focus this entire week. Extremely disappointed they have not been able to contain him. Back to you.
Thanks, Pam. Chris Cooley, 7 receptions in the first half. Came into the game with only 10 all season. He has a Redskins touchdown. Redskins over 200 yards of offense prior to halftime. They start from their own 24. Portis, the lone back, off the play fake. Campbell with time, looking for Moss, and it's knocked down, broken up by Al Harris.
You know, because of all the man coverage that Green Bay runs, they probably see more crossing routes from opponents' wide receivers than any other defense in the National Football League. And that's what Washington was trying to do right there, off the play action to Clinton Portis and trying to get a ball across the field for a pretty good chunk of yardage. But, you know, again, Al Harris and Charles Woodson, they're used to seeing that. They've got great speed, great closing speed. That route didn't look like it had much of a chance right from the beginning.
Moss without a catch today. He did not play last week. Inside handoff, Portis. And Portis out across the 35 to the 37 for a Redskins first down.
Well, what a great move at the end of that run by Clinton Portis. And Al Harris knows that he probably should have made the tackle, and he also knows that he got embarrassed on it. You're going to see Clinton Portis here come to his left, and he's led by Jason Fabini. But right there, you know, you see Al Harris wasn't real sure exactly what he was going to try to do, if he was going to try to bounce it outside of him or if he was going to cut it up inside. And instead, he was just left there standing in his tracks.
Gain of 13. This is Betts, Liddell Betts.
That's the ball carrier.
Brought down Nick Barnett.
Hawk on the tackle.
Had 9 tackles in the first half. Gain of just 1 for Betts, setting up second down and 9. Game 3 of the American League Championship Series tomorrow night on Fox, starting at 7 Eastern. Boston Red Sox, Cleveland Indians. Cullen Jenkins back in the game for the Packers. Tweaked his knee in the first half. Play action on 2nd and 9. Campbell to a wide open James Thrash. Penalty markers on the field. James Thrash, his first catch today, and he is finally forced out of bounds after a 40-yard pickup.
I'm not sure exactly what the penalty was for.
Terry McCauley will let us know after he sorts things out with his colleagues. A 40-yard pass play from Campbell to Thrash. There are 2 flags on the field.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Pass interference, offense number 83. Illegal contact, defense number 21. Penalties offset, second down.
Well, here's a look at it here between the 2. And I could see where one penalty would have been called, but they were both called right there at the same time.
Joe Bugle, the Redskins assistant head coach, not happy with the calls.
2nd and 9 for the
or at least one of them.
Well, I think that one could have been called on either one, and I guess, you know, by that they just went ahead and called each of them and then offset the penalties.
So it's a do-over. 2nd and 9. Redskins from their own 38. Campbell looking for Moss, but he stumbled to the turf.
Woodson on the coverage.
Charles Woodson on the coverage, so a 3rd and 9 coming up for Washington.
Yeah, and with the rain that we've started to have, you're seeing more and more of the receivers starting to slip a little bit coming out of their breaks. And, you know, you've got Santana Moss, who fell there, but then also, you know, as we said, he did not play last week. He's had a groin injury, and I'm sure he's being a little ginger as he's coming out of his breaks also.
Randall L. with the only catch by a Redskin wide receiver today. Play clock down to 2. Campbell rolling right, penalty flag on the field. He gets away from Jenkins, he throws, and the catch is made by Brandon Lloyd, close to our yellow first down line, which is unofficial.
You know, initially Jason Campbell came
illegal
out.
formation. Offense. Number 74 was not on the line of scrimmage.
And Randall L., as you saw, he got deep, and that's about when Jason Campbell was going to turn it loose, and then Randall L. turned back to the sideline, and then Campbell wasn't real sure what to do with the football.
Penalty called on Heyer, who replaced Wade at right tackle. Randall L. questionable throughout the week with a hamstring injury, has never missed a game in the NFL during his 6-year career.
Which anybody, regardless of what position you play, to not miss a game is pretty incredible. I know it impresses me, and what also impresses me is the job he's done as a wide receiver this year. I mean, he has turned into a bona fide number 2 guy, and he's played very well for this team.
Redskins have to get to the 47. Here comes KGB. Campbell gets rid of it, looking to set up the screen. Redskins will punt.
Yeah, you're right. KGB off the corner, you know, does a good job. Here he is, and he's working against Chris Samuels. And you can see that speed rush right there that he uses, trying to get on the edge, and then Jason Campbell getting flushed out of the pocket. And, you know, KGB began his career as a situational pass rusher. Then he became an every down player, and I think he's been much more effective now that he's going back to the situational stuff.
KGB, of course, is Kabir Bajabiamila, who broke Reggie White's franchise sack record earlier this month. Packers will start from their own 31-yard line. Some extracurricular activity following the punt. Look back at Brett Favre's rookie season here in Green Bay.
That's where he learned how to play as reckless as he does. Just sling the ball around, throw it over your back.
Fellow Mississippi native Jason Campbell matching up against Favre for the first time. Favre and the Packers start from their own 31. Morency. You know, although Morenci's only in his 3rd season, he's older than your average 3rd-year player, because prior to attending Oklahoma State, he spent 4 years as an outfielder in the Colorado Rockies farm system.
Well, that tells you the type of athlete, you know, that you're dealing with there. And, you know, again, they had high expectations for him coming into this season. They traded for him and was projected to be the starter when training camp began, only to go down in the first practice of camp, and he's still been finding his way.
Originally drafted by the Houston Texans. 2nd down and 4, off the fake to Morency. Favre airing it out. James Jones, the intended receiver, it is intercepted by Sean Taylor, and that is career interception number 278, thrown by Brett Favre. He is now the all-time leader. He had been tied with George Blanda, 3rd pick of the year for Taylor. 2 weeks after breaking Dan Marino's all-time touchdown record, Brett Favre now in the record books in the interceptions column, although he has thrown more than twice as many career passes than the man who was tied with George Blanda.
Well, and that's, you know, that doesn't come as a surprise. I mean, the fact that he broke the touchdown record, and, you know, we all know the way in which Brett has played, and it seems almost fitting that he has the interception record as well.
Here's Portis, gain of 4. The interceptions are way down this year, Troy, only 5.
Well, you go back and take a look at this last one, and watch Sean Taylor. I mean, he is so deep. it's amazing that he was able to, from where he was, get back, because when Brett Favre turned that one loose, it looked like it was going to be an easy completion and probably a touchdown there to James Jones. And Sean Taylor does a great job of keeping his feet in and showing you the range that he has there from center field.
Remember, Taylor had 2 chances earlier but could not hold on to the football. 2nd and 6, 8th catch today for Cooley.
Well, I'm impressed with what they've been able to do with Chris Cooley here today, because as we talked about a little bit earlier, he's been bottled up, you know, pretty much throughout the entire season coming into this game, and knowing again that he was going to be one of the big matchups. And then also in hearing Pam Oliver talk about it when she spoke with Mike McCarthy, they knew coming in that Chris Cooley was going to be one of the focal points, and yet they've not been able to do anything to shut him down.
3rd down and 1. Mike Sellers, the intended receiver, could not hold on. Nick Barnett on the coverage. So the Redskins go 3 and out.
And I think right now for the Redskins, I mean, when you look at what has happened to them here in this ball game, you know, one of the things that has really hurt them is their inability to convert on 3rd downs, because they've had some opportunities, but because of drop balls, they've not been able to keep the ball, and they've been then forced to punt.
Frost from his own 12. Woodson on the run. Woodson brings it out close to midfield. It's been a frustrating afternoon at times for Jason Campbell. 5 dropped passes by the Redskins. Redskins lead by 7. Packers with their best starting field position of the day. From their own 48-yard line. Favre out of the shotgun on 1st down. Favre takes off, could not find anyone downfield, and he slides at the 45 after gaining 7.
Well, he had great protection. Unfortunately, he just had nowhere to go with the football. Again, Washington just playing very deep coverage right now. They don't want to give up any big plays down the field, so the only place that Brett can then go is underneath, but there was nowhere to throw the football there either. Does a nice job of picking up a pretty good gain by scrambling.
2nd down and 3.
319! 319!
This is Wynn. Couple of nice jukes by Deshaun Wynn to pick up a first as we send it west. Kurt Menefee.
Back to Kenny, Troy, and Pam.
All right, thanks, Kurt. Big day for Galloway. Bucks coming off the loss in Indy last week. From the Redskins 39. Favre look right, throws left to Morency. Not much.
I think when you look at this Green Bay's offense and, you know, really try to figure out what exactly, you know, they're about, and what they've not been able to do a very good job of this year is create big plays. And when you don't get big plays, whether that's in the passing game or in the running game, it's then very, very hard to score points. And it's a great example of what's happened in this game. The one big play to Donald Lee there in the 1st quarter is what set up the 1st touchdown. Since then, they've just not been able to get any big chunks of yardage.
Favre on 2nd and 10. The slant is caught at the 32-yard line by Donald Driver. Gain of 7. Midway through the 3rd quarter. Redskins leading the Packers 14-7. Driver in the slot. 3 wide receivers set. 3rd down and 3. Penalty markers prior to the snap.
Number 99, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's on Andre Carter.
Hey, you know, Brett Favre's been using a lot of hard count throughout the game. He came into the ball game using it a lot there in the first quarter. And the Redskins had shown a great deal of discipline not coming off sides. He's been using it here on this possession as well. And then finally got Andre Carter to come on.
An automatic first down from the Washington 27. Morency in the backfield, 3 wide receivers. Morency inside the 25. Down to the 24-yard line. Gain of 3. Philip Daniels made the tackle.
You know, in Washington defensively, a lot like what they did last week, they continue to play coverage. And by that, I mean they're playing cover 2 with the 2 safeties deep, and then saying that we can stop the run if Green Bay elects to run it with a 7-man front. And so it makes it more important now for Green Bay to be able to have some level of success running the football in those situations.
Favre to throw on second down, and it's caught inside the 20-yard line by Donald Driver. Gain of 6.
You know, Donald Driver makes a tough catch there, and you think back to, you know, all the catches that he's made throughout his career. I just really think he's one of the most underrated players in the National Football League, definitely as a wide receiver, and probably one of the toughest wide receivers in the game as well. Not afraid to go over to the middle. Brett's not afraid to lead them into the middle, but he'll definitely go after it and absorb his body in order to catch the ball.
3 catches today for Driver, 3rd down and 1. And there he is again. First down for Donald Driver and the Packers.
And Brett Favre, he got hit down low there. You see his knee and his legs getting caught up there with London Fletcher. And you start getting a little bit older. Brett, as you said, 38 years old. Those hits may not look like all that much, but they start taking their toll.
8th play of the drive, longest drive of the game by Green Bay. From the Redskins 16, Morency down to the 12. Penalty marker, gain of 4.
Holding offense number 76. 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's the veteran left tackle Chad Clifton, not happy with the call.
Here he is right here. Let's take a look and see exactly what it is that he did. He's working against Andre Carter there, and I didn't see a whole lot there. Well, now if I didn't, I was blocked just like the official was that threw the flag.
Forces the Packers back 10 yards to the 27. Morency the lone back. Driver in the slot. First down and 20. Morency. Tackled by McIntosh and Rogers at the 23-yard line. Gain of 3.
Well, it was a good job there by Washington defensively. The Green Bay Packers put 3 wide receivers to one side, trying to get the defense to run off. And then maybe they can get the ball underneath and clear a zone and give them some running lane. But, you know, again, the speed of this Redskins defense at the linebacker position, they were able to collapse on that and not give up much.
Now Driver split to the right. Jones split left. Jennings in the slot. 10th play of the drive for Green Bay. Favre pump fakes, now throws to the end zone to Jones. Touchdown, James Jones.
Offense number 65. 10-yard penalty, second down.
It's coming back. The right tackle, Mark Tauscher, the guilty Packer. So penalties just killing the Packers on this drive.
Well, and we've talked about some of the youth on the interior part of the offensive line. Tauscher's right here. He's the offensive tackle there on the right side, working against Philip Daniels, and it's right there where they got the call, because as soon as Brett Favre got up in the pocket, When he scrambles up in the pocket, the left hand right there is when he got called for the hold. Now, I mean, whether it was Chad Clifton or Mark Tauscher, I didn't see a lot there to warrant a holding penalty.
2 10-yard penalties against the veteran tackles. Now 2nd down and 27. As Favre fires, it's caught. Taken inside the 20-yard line by Donald Lee. So it will be a 3rd down and about 13.
You know, I think kind of what we saw there on that play, the touchdown that got called back, is a little bit like what Brett Favre was talking about when we talked with him yesterday. You know, he says, you know, I don't really know how good we are. I don't know that we're a lot better than what we were last year even. We've just had some breaks that have gone our way where last year we didn't get them. Well, here over the last couple of weeks, this drive included, you know, they just not had some of the breaks go in their favor.
Favre on 3rd and 13. Throws, it's deflected twice and then nearly picked off. So after all that, the Packers will send out the field goal unit.
Well, and I know that's a disappointment right there, not only for Brett Favre, but this entire Packer offense that, you know, they did some good things. They thought they came away with a touchdown, and then to have to settle for a field goal attempt, you know, it's real disappointing, primarily because of the 2 penalties, whether or not they should have been called. But they were called on 2 of their veteran players, the left tackle and the right tackle, Clifton and Tauscher.
So a 37-yard attempt. Crosby missed from 46 at the end of the 1st half. He hits from 37. But the Packers forced to settle for a field goal. They pulled to within 4. Brett Favre looking at the photos from the last Packers possession. A couple of key penalties called against their offensive line held Green Bay to a field goal.
Yeah, I mean, you see right there, 11 plays. It took them 11 plays to go 33 yards. Now, granted, the penalties brought the touchdown back, but, you know, that's not real good production, obviously, when it takes that many plays to move that amount of distance. And that's why I say, you know, when talking with Brett Favre, I would think that at some point that becomes very frustrating for a quarterback. But, you know, he admitted that it has not been, that he understands that that's the game that he's going to have to play and what he's going to have to do in order to give this team a chance to be successful.
Short kickoff taken at the 12 by Cartwright. Cartwright breaks free. Rock Cartwright forced out of bounds by the kicker Crosby, who had slipped while kicking off. And Cartwright returns it 41 yards into Green Bay territory. Crosby, some tough footing, and a big return by Cartwright. Jason Campbell.
I think he was asking Campbell where it was he was supposed to line up. That doesn't give the quarterback a lot of confidence if this is a pass play.
Where do I go? What do you want me to do? The fake toss to Portis. Campbell over the top. Guess what? Maybe Yoder was asking for the football.
It was all ploy.
So Yoder makes the catch, and we check in with Kurt Menefee.
Kenny, if you started Adrian Peterson over the Bears by 7, Kenny, Troy, and Pam.
All right, thanks, Kurt. Did Jay Novacek ever whisper in your ear?
I'll leave that one alone.
Here's Santana Moss. Moss lost the football. It's picked up by Woodson. Chased by Campbell. Al Harris with a block on Jason Campbell. And Woodson takes it all the way back for a Packers touchdown. 52 yards.
Well, you take a look at it. I mean, he goes to the ground here, and yep, the ball's coming out. Initially, it looked like it just fell out without anybody knocking it out, but clearly was knocked out of Moss's hand before he went to the ground. And then once Charles Woodson got it, nobody was going to catch him.
Corey Williams with the strip. Charles Woodson with the return. And the Packers are back on top. Mason Crosby the extra point. 4th career touchdown for Charles Woodson. Officially 57 yards.
Well, again, you're going to see it there. Corey Williams just does a nice job as he reaches back to try to help on the tackle. He gets his hand on the ball and then knocks it out. Just not real good ball security there by Santana Moss. And then Charles Woodson just in a great spot to get it. I mean, the only guy who had a chance to keep Woodson from getting into the end zone there was Jason Campbell, but it wasn't even really a contest. You know, you look at the Washington Redskins and why it is that they've been successful this year. One of the reasons why they've been so good is that they've done a great job of protecting the football.
Only the 3rd fumble lost by the Redskins. But it's a big one as Woodson returned it 57 yards.
Yeah, I mean, even though it was only their 3rd lost fumble, they have put the ball on the ground a lot.
Redskins would love another big return from Cartwright. Tripped up, down at the 27-yard line with exactly 2 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Coming up after our game, it's the Fox NFL Sunday postgame show presented by AT&T as we reveal the first BCS standings of the year after another wild weekend of college football. Find out where each team ranks, plus get highlights from all of today's action. The Fox NFL Sunday postgame coming up, and we are told there will be some shocking news within the BCS rankings.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Pretty amazing what happened yesterday with the #1 and #2 team losing. You know, that top 10 poll from where it was coming into the season has been turned completely upside down.
This game turned upside down the last couple of minutes. Campbell's pass up at the 44-yard line is caught by a diving Randall L., only his 2nd catch today.
Yeah, it was a good throw there by Jason Campbell and a nice job by Antoine Randall L. of getting extended out, close to coming out, but he's able to get his hands and arms underneath it. You know, you think back to this 1st quarter or this 1st half. There's Casey Robach, the center. So now they've got another shuffle there along the offensive line.
Mike Pacillo now snapping the football to Campbell. This is Portis. Casey Robach, the starting center you saw heading to the locker room. He's a native of Wisconsin, used to attend Packers games, tailgate in the parking lot, and he's a 7-year veteran, but today his first time playing at Lambeau Field.
Yeah, and I know he'll be disappointed not to be in the lineup if he's unable to come back. But, you know, some of the problems that this Redskin team has had running the football is due to what all has happened there along the offensive line. And, of course, they're without Randy Thomas, their right guard, and then John Jansen, as we said, went down in week 1. And now with the center, from the center over, they're completely new on that right side of the line.
Campbell firing downfield for Moss, and he is unable to pull it in.
And I think that's really been the story so far in this game. The Redskins in the 1st half really should have been able to build up a pretty good lead. That's a nice double move on Al Harris with Santana Moss, and the ball just got up into his face mask, and he was unable to get his hands there to make the play on the ball. You see it bounce off his face mask. And now that's at least the 2nd ball that we've seen Santana Moss miss. Of course, that one there, a big chunk of yardage if he's able to make that catch, which immediately then puts them in scoring position.
Redskins have to get to the Packers 46. Campbell over the middle, intended for Yoder. And the Redskins forced to punt.
Yeah, and Jason Campbell, I think, has been doing a good job in recent weeks of getting the ball out of his hands. But you're going to see Yoder down the middle, and watch how long he's open before Campbell finally turns it loose. He just didn't anticipate that one very well, and then you've got Atari Bigby in the backfield just waiting on it, and he knocks it loose.
No whisper in the ear from Yoder that time. Vermont Williams at the 10-yard line. Terrific coverage. James Thrash and Rock Cartwright downfield on special teams. 42-yard punt, nothing on the return.
Campbell looks like he might have got banged up a little bit there on that last play. He went to the ground. But I think he's thrown the ball pretty well. You know, when you consider, when you look back and you say, okay, what do his numbers look like? It's going to be misleading because, as I've said, there's been a number of drop balls that have hurt him, but more importantly, they've hurt the team because they would have kept drives alive. And then none more important than that last throw to Santana Moss.
We'll look at the Packers offensive leaders. 24 seconds remaining, third quarter. Packers with a 3-point lead. Starting from their own 10. Deshaun Wynn. Not much. London Fletcher makes the tackle for the Redskins as time winds down and the teams will switch ends. We head to the fourth quarter. The Redskins led at the half 14-7. Packers with 10 third quarter points. The last 7 coming on this. Corey Williams strips Santana Moss, who dropped one later on. Look at Redskins center Casey Raubach. Knocked out of the game with a groin injury in his return to Wisconsin. We start the fourth quarter. Packers lead 17-14. The Mississippi natives, Jason Campbell and Brett Favre. Similar numbers. Favre and the Packers, second down and 9 from their own 11. 3 wide receivers. Deshaun Wynn, the lone back. Wynn, stutter step. Runs right into London Fletcher. Gain of 3 out to the 14, setting up third down and 6.
Yeah, London Fletcher doing a nice job. Again, they were playing coverage there, and he's able to come up and make a play for very little gain. And, you know, he's really been the guy who has made the biggest difference for this defensive group. I think when you talk about why are they so much better this year than what they were last year, I think London Fletcher and the job that he's done being a leader for this group has been the biggest difference.
Won a Super Bowl with the Rams, played for Greg Williams in Buffalo. Third down and 6. Packers have to get to the 20. Favre throws incomplete. Off the mark, intended for James Jones.
Well, what a defensive stop that was for Washington. All the momentum here behind Green Bay. And for them to be able to get them pinned back and then force a 3 and out. You know, Washington should get this ball with great field position. Now, they've had some other opportunities with great field position here in the second half and have been unable to do anything with it, but they're going to get another chance.
Good kick by Ryan, forcing Randall L back to the 33. And he's tackled at the 37-yard line by Papinga. There is a flag.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 50. 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
That's on Corey Campbell. It forces the Redskins back 10 yards. Troy, and spending time with you this weekend here in Green Bay, I know you are a huge fan of the pumpkin pecan frozen custard.
Well, those that know me, I'm pretty much a fan of anything as long as it's ice cream or custard. And unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to stop by Culver's there, but the great Mike Stevepak was kind enough to bring some of that pumpkin pecan custard to my room, so I ate plenty.
We can arrange a trip back to Green Bay if you'd like. Redskins start from their own 27. Portis. Gain of just 1. I know our producer Richie Zions, director Artie Kempner, both took some doggy bags home, bringing the frozen custard back home to the East Coast.
Well, you know what? I'll get away from the custard, but I will tell you this, that you know, every announcer that comes here to Green Bay talks about it, and this is a really great place to come to a game, and they treat us very well. I mean, believe me, they're not putting my name on the sign out front of any ice cream stores anywhere else in the country other than maybe Dallas.
Portis. They don't do that for you in Philadelphia?
They do a lot of things for me in Philadelphia, but that's not one of them.
For you or to you?
Oh. Well, I tell you what, this is a big drive right here for Washington, and you know, when you think about what has happened here in the second half and the opportunities that they've had, not being able to do anything with it, third down here becomes very important.
Third and a long one. The toss to Portis with Sellers leading the way, and Portis is stopped. Stopped shy of the first down marker. Corey Williams, Nick Barnett.
You know, I think as much as what Joe Gibbs would like to go for, you just can't right here. And you know, Clinton Portis is not really a lateral runner. I mean, he prefers to get going north and south, and he just wasn't able to on that last drive. They strung it out a little bit. He couldn't put his foot in the ground and get headed up the field to try to pick up the necessary yardage. And you know, I don't know, in watching him again, I think Clinton Portis is absolutely terrific. I just don't think he's all that healthy.
He has not had a full week of practice so far this season. Woodson down at the 24. It's Brett Favre's 16th season here in Green Bay. And Troy, you asked him yesterday, what do you do? What do you do in Green Bay? And he said,
I wish I had asked.
20 minutes later. And he told us there's no better place to play. Not many distractions. It reminds him a lot of his off-season home in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Favre and the Packers start from their own 24-yard line, leading by 3. Favre going deep for Greg Jennings, who tried to make the adjustment, but is unable to make the catch. 2nd and 10 coming up. Game 3 of the American League Championship Series tomorrow night on Fox. Series tied at 1. Boston Red Sox, Cleveland Indians, following the 7-run 11th inning by the Indians last night. You know, it sounds like, aside from Sundays and the occasional Monday, Favre, along with his youngest daughter, turns Lambeau Field into his personal playground.
Yeah, why not? You know, I mean, that's nice that he's able to do that and bring her here.
Comes to Lambeau with his daughter. They eat ice cream. They ride scooters on the concourse. Penalty marker. Jennings, the intended receiver.
It looks like they're going to get Carlos Rogers for pass interference.
Pass interference, defense, number 22. Automatic, first down.
You're going to see Greg Jennings, and watch where the ball is when Greg Jennings comes back to it. You know, in order for Carlos Rogers to make a play on the ball, he goes through the back of Greg Jennings, and that's a good call. You know, he never sees the ball. Carlos Rogers never sees the ball when it's in the air and goes after Jennings rather than trying to make a play on the ball, and that's why it was PI.
Packers pick up 13 yards on the penalty from the 37. Ball is deflected and then caught. Driver able to make the catch, and then he lost it. Ball came loose. It's underneath the pile, and the Packers have recovered.
Here's Driver going to the ground, and you know, he was on the ground anyway. I think even if Washington had recovered that, I think that they would have ruled that Donald Driver was down and that they would have maintained possession. And you don't want to be at the bottom of one of those piles.
2nd and 2 from the 45.
Second down and 2. Batted back towards Favre.
pass batted
by
down
Andre Carter. Now, Favre was also telling us yesterday about his first career completion, which was batted back to Brett Favre. So he was actually the receiver on the first pass he completed in the NFL. Similar situation to this.
3rd and 2 from the
Yeah, that one. I mean, that just tells you that his reflexes are not as good as they used to be. Because he didn't even get his hands up to catch that one.
Although probably better that it fell to the ground. Would have been a negative play had he caught it. 3rd down and 2. Again going deep for Jennings. Another flag.
It looks like they may call Carlos Rogers again, unless he's picking it up. I don't know if he's picking it up because of how the play resulted, but initially it looked like he was calling Carlos Rogers.
There's no foul for defensive pass interference. Everybody was playing the ball. 4th down.
You're going to see Carlos Rogers. He's going to be leaning on Greg Jennings when the ball's in the air. Right here is when he gets the arm bar and starts leaning on him. The flag came out then.
The key is that Rogers turned his head and looked up towards the football.
Yeah, I think it was a good no call. You know, I didn't see anything there to initiate the flag in the first place, and a good job of picking it up.
Fair catch called for by Randall L. at the 12-yard line. 43-yard punt. Early 4th quarter. Packers lead by 3. The Redskins with a depleted offensive line similar to the Packers. Mike Pacillo remains in at center for Casey Raubach, who tweaked his groin. Todd Wade injured a groin in the first half, so the rookie Stefan Heyer remains in at right tackle. Redskins trailing by 3. From the 13, the toss to Portis. Stutter step. Look to cut around Jenkins. He lost the football. And the Packers have recovered. A.J. Hawk comes up with it.
I tell you, Clinton Portis gets the ball, and there's just nowhere for him to run. I mean, there were 4 Green Bay Packers out there just waiting on him. At that point there, all he could really do is just go to the ground. He tries to get something out of it, and the ball comes out. Just not a good job of ball security, and now you just give the ball right back to Green Bay in great field position, and another mistake. I mean, the Redskins have lost out on a number of opportunities today in not catching the ball, both on the offensive side of the ball as well as the defensive side of the ball. And then they've also put the ball on the ground.
Redskins' 3rd turnover of the game. They had only 5 all season coming into the game today. Deshaun Wynn. You know, we had a shot a moment ago. It looked like Clinton Portis was trying to talk to defensive coordinator Greg Williams. They didn't want to hear from Clinton Portis.
Well, I just, in watching Clinton Portis, not just right there, but in previous possessions, you know, he's a frustrated guy, and as well he should be. I mean, a lot of things happening there in the offensive line, but no matter how frustrated he is, there's no excuse for putting the ball on the ground as he just did.
2nd and goal from the Redskins 8. Favre looking end zone. He throws, corner of the end zone. Bubba Franks came down out of bounds.
You know, they tried going to the corner route to Bubba Franks, and Fred Smoot's able to get back, but you know, that could have very easily have been called a force out. It's not reviewable, but Fred Smoot, he never even makes a play on the ball. I mean, we've seen Carlos Rogers and now Fred Smoot, who never gets turned around to locate where the football is. And I don't care. I mean, you can't play good defensive coverage in this league if you're constantly playing receivers as opposed to playing the football. I mean, Fred Smoot is a corner in this league who has started a lot of games in this league. He's now the nickel corner for Washington. And you're talking about going up against a tight end. He should have been able to make a better play on that than what he did.
Timeout called by the Packers. 10 minutes to go. Fred Alex Mood looking at the replay on the video screen here at Lambeau. Fortunate that he was not called for a force out on Bubba Franks.
Boy, it sure was. I mean, that probably should have been called force out. And the fact that they didn't rule it that, the Redskins were very fortunate. And if they're able to hold Green Bay here and only give up a field goal, that's going to be huge, keeping it a one-possession game.
3rd and goal from the 8. Favre pump fakes. He's in trouble. Down he goes back at the 20-yard line. Chris Wilson with his first NFL sack.
Well, and what's impressive about that is Washington did it with only a 4-man rush. I mean, they rushed 4 guys, hoping they can get some pressure on Brett. Brett had a guy open in the back of the end zone right here, but he was unable to get to him because of the pressure by Wilson.
Clinton Portis reacting. His fumble led to this Packers possession. 38-yard attempt for Crosby, who was 1 for 2. Crosby's kick is off the upright. Off the left upright. His second missed field goal today, and Portis is off the hook.
Yeah, now Portis is really happy, and now he'll argue, hey, we even got better field position than we had.
Let's listen. So the rookie Mason Crosby, who had missed only 1 coming into this game, is just 1 for 3 today.
Well, that's a great job by this Redskins defensive unit. I mean, obviously they didn't have a lot to do with the missed field goal there, but the fact that they were able to keep Green Bay out of the end zone was a great job. The percentages of a team scoring from where the Packers got the ball on that last possession is pretty high. And so the odds were against the Redskins holding them out, but they stepped up and got it done.
They had 1st and goal on the 9 and could not score. Big sack by Wilson, forcing the Packers back, and the missed field goal by Crosby. So new life for the Redskins. Campbell with loads of time. He throws, and coming back to make the catch is Keenan McCardell, the 16-year veteran. His first catch today. Joined the Redskins a week and a half ago and had 2 receptions against Detroit last Sunday.
Yeah, 16 years, and he still can run a route. And he's running against a pretty good corner there in Al Harris. You see the way he works back to the ball? That's something all young receivers should learn from. And it's why they were able to make the completion. And they're fortunate to have him when you consider the injuries that they've had to the wide receiver position. Keenan McCardell's done a good job for him.
On 2nd and 1, Portis. Portis picks up the first.
You know, Ryan Pickett in the middle of that one, and you know, Ryan Pickett came over and he's done a great job really for this Packers defense. He's a big body, and he's had an exceptional year. You know, there was St. Louis. They thought he was winding down a little bit, but he's been a big reason why this Packers defense has played the way that they've been able to play. I mean, he's constantly having to absorb the double teams right there in the middle.
5 seasons with the Rams, his 2nd year here in Green Bay. From the 38 on 1st down. Campbell over the top. It's caught by McCardell. And McCardell takes it all the way down to the Packers' 41-yard line.
You know, there were so many crossing routes taking place right there. Watch Keenan McCardell right over here. He's the one who gets it, but I don't know that he thought that he was going to be getting the ball. He thought it was going to the other crosser, but he was aware and able to make the catch. You see all 3 of them go there on the slant route, and then Brandon Lloyd underneath. And I think they're going to have to rely on Jason Campbell if they're going to move the football.
21-yard pass play, and now Portis takes it down to the 38, gain of 3.
Yeah, I know what we talked about coming into this game was that, you know, Joe Gibbs and this Redskins staff really did not want to see this become a passing duel between Jason Campbell and Brett Favre. We anticipated that Brett Favre was going to have to throw it because of their struggles running the ball, but it's turned out that way for the Redskins as well. And any success that Washington has had has really been on the arm of Jason Campbell.
2nd down and 7. We approach 7 minutes remaining in Green Bay. Campbell going deep, a diving attempt by Lloyd, incomplete.
You know, there was a ball that Campbell could have probably put a little bit more air on. He's not a deep ball thrower that does that, though. He tends to throw a flatter ball. Lloyd does a great job of laying out, but a ball that he could have caught. Would have been a good catch. I mean, would have been a great catch, but a ball that he could have brought in. And that's, again, is just another opportunity that the Redskins have just failed to be able to capitalize on.
Randall L. and Thrash have checked in. We have not seen Moss on this drive. He has had his problems today, coming off the groin injury as well. And now Campbell calls timeout.
Yeah, the Packers were showing pressure. They brought Atari Bigby up, the safety, and Campbell didn't like the look.
First timeout called by the Redskins.
Kenny, I think the Redskins here, Joe Gibbs and Al Saunders, they have to make a decision as to whether or not they're in 4-down territory or not. And it's 3rd and 7. But if as a coach you're going to say, hey, if we get it anywhere to within 4th and 2, 4th and 3, we're going to go for it because of where we're at on the field, then I think that's going to determine then what they're going to do on 3rd down. And if they don't pick up the 1st down, I mean, you're right there on the edge as to whether or not you go for the field goal or not. I personally would want to try to make this a 2-down play to pick up a 1st down.
Line of scrimmage, the Packers 37. Campbell in trouble. He gets rid of it, and the catch is made by Cooley. It will depend on the spot. He needed to get to the 31-yard line for a 1st down.
Yeah, he tried reaching out and picking it up, but it looked like he got ruled short. You take a look and see where it was that he went out.
Looks to be about a yard shy.
Yeah, I tell you, these timeouts that they're burning in order to make some of these decisions, these may come back to haunt them. I mean, there's still over 6.5 minutes left in this ball game, and the way that it's coming down, those timeouts are going to be crucial once you get into the last 2 minutes.
You saw Bubba Franks carted off, injured his knee moments ago.
I just think that last timeout that they used before the 3rd down, I think that was the time to discuss, okay, the different scenarios. Maybe you don't discuss those with Jason Campbell, but I think as a staff you do, and that keeps you then from having to burn another timeout right after the 3rd down play.
Instead, the Redskins do burn another timeout. They have only 1 remaining. It's 4th and about 1.5 yards.
And you know, in this situation last week against Chicago, the Bears ran play action and got the big play to the tight end. And we'll see what Washington tries to do in a similar situation.
Redskins going for it on 4th down. Campbell's pass is caught, but not enough. Nick Barnett read the play, brought down Liddell Betts, and the Redskins turn the ball over on downs.
Yeah, Jason Campbell was just a little bit quick to get the ball out of his hands. That's the first read, so that's where he went right away. But had he have stayed here with McCardell, had a pretty easy slant route there for the 1st down. Easier to say from up here. But again, Betts, the first read on the route, he gets the ball, but he never got the depth so that if he caught it, he would be across the 1st down line.
So after the Redskins stopped the Packers, who had 1st and goal from the 9 and did not score, Redskins enter Green Bay territory and turn the ball over on downs. Green Bay with a 3-point lead under 7 minutes remaining from Lambeau Field. Deshaun Wynn out to the 38. We welcome those of you who have just joined us here in Green Bay. Redskins led at the half 14-7. Santana Moss stripped. It was returned for a touchdown by Charles Woodson. Clinton Portis, the 3rd Washington turnover. Brett Favre, corner of the end zone, not ruled a force out. No touchdown. And then Mason Crosby hit the left upright. So the Packers lead remained 3. And then Nick Barnett with the big tackle on a 4th down attempt by Washington. Second down and 5. Deshaun Wynn cuts to the inside and has a 1st down. So the Packers move the chains, and we check in with Kurt Menefee.
All right, guys, you've seen, is the Rookie of the Year race over already, Kenny?
Wow.
I think it was over in the preseason. We had a chance to do one of their games, and I tell you what, if he can stay healthy, something that he was unable to do a lot of there in college, he's going to be a real superstar.
A game the Packers are keeping a close eye on. Vernon Morency out to the 46-yard line. Gain of 2. Green Bay at 4-1. First place in the NFC North. Chicago Bears 2-3. Minnesota 1-3. Detroit Lions are off this weekend.
2nd and 8 from the
A reminder, game 3 of the American League Championship Series. Boston Red Sox, Cleveland Indians gets underway at 7 Eastern. Tomorrow night, Joe Buck and Tim McCarver with the call on Fox. Kenny Albert, Troy Aikman, Pam Oliver here in Green Bay. Packers over the Redskins, 17-14. 2nd down and 8. Favre going deep for Greg Jennings. It is intercepted by Sean Taylor, his 2nd pick today. He also dropped 4 others. The lateral to Rocky McIntosh. So the Redskins force a 2nd Packer turnover, and Washington gets the ball back, trailing by 3 with 4:14 remaining.
You know, I want to take a closer look at this because the way Greg Jennings ran the route and the way that Brett reacted, you know, Jennings ran a go right from the beginning. No double move, nothing. Just a go right off the ball, as you just saw. Brett Favre, on the other hand, acted as if he was going to turn a slant route loose. Brett did not throw it, obviously, but then when he saw Jennings going down the field, he tried to fit it in there, and he was just then late on the throw. And Taylor, again, shows his range by being able to get there because it didn't look like there was a place for a defender to get. You go back and now take a look at Brett Favre. And when he gets the ball, it looks like he's going to throw a quick route on the slant to Greg Jennings on the outside. You know, now looking at it from that standpoint with Brett, it looked like it was that route all along. Brett just hung it up a little bit, but when you throw the fake like that to get a corner to bite, that also draws the safety over the top, and that's why Sean Taylor was able to get a head start on defending that ball.
Campbell looking to set up the screen to Clinton Portis on 2nd and 15. So a 3rd and long coming up for the Redskins. The last 7 Washington possessions, 4 punts, 2 turnovers, and they also gave the ball back to Green Bay on downs. A look at Packers defensive coordinator Bob Sanders. 3rd down and 19. Redskins have to get to the 39 for a 1st down. Campbell in trouble. Down he goes. Aaron Campman with the sack of Jason Campbell.
Well, Aaron Campman, he's working against Stephon Hire again, who came in today, and Aaron Campman has had himself a heck of a ball game from the first play of this game on. He has been a factor in getting pressure back there on Jason Campbell, and boy, good job there by that Packer defense.
So a missed opportunity for the Redskins after the interception of Favre. The punt actually deflected off Jared Bush. It was a scramble for the loose ball, and Woodson on the recovery.
I tell you, this is one of those bizarre games where you just sit there and say, you know, who wants to win it? I mean, every time you look down there, something crazy's happening that's keeping the other team involved in the game. You know, those timeouts that the Washington Redskins now burned, those are going to become critical here as we move into this possession for Green Bay.
The Green Bay defense has forced 3 turnovers. They've scored a touchdown. And Campman with the huge sack of Campbell. So the Packers get the ball back. 2:44 remaining from their own 42-yard line. Deshaun Wynn, nowhere to go. Anthony Montgomery smothers Wynn. A loss of a yard.
Well, and I think Washington should use a timeout here and not let it go all the way down to the 2-minute warning. I mean, to me, if they burn it here, then they're going to force them to third down at the 2-minute warning. Otherwise, it's going to be below the 2-minute warning before they burn their next timeout on third down. I mean, this, of course, they can do it now. It would be the same thing, but this doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, they're burning a lot of time off this clock. It was always going to get to 2 minutes unless Green Bay threw it on second down and it was incomplete. But to me, this makes no sense running it down to 2 minutes.
So the Redskins waste about 30 seconds. 2-minute warning here in Green Bay. Back in Green Bay, our game summary. Redskins 3 turnovers. The go-ahead score, Charles Woodson, a 57-yard return of a Santana Moss fumble. Redskins wasted about 30 seconds by not calling timeout prior to the 2-minute warning. Packers keep it on the ground with Deshaun Wynn. And Wynn takes it out to the 45-yard line.
And had they have called timeout, then they would have gotten the 2-minute warning. You know, there with at 2 minutes is what would have happened. But what more importantly, it would have forced Green Bay to make a decision as to whether or not they wanted to throw the football. They're on second down and try to get the first down, or run it. I think without the timeout, it made it a real easy decision for Green Bay to go ahead and run the football.
A reminder coming up after the game, the Fox NFL Sunday postgame show presented by AT&T as we reveal the first BCS standings of the year. Redskins have had some problems with clock management over the last 4 seasons since the return of Joe Gibbs. And you think back to earlier in this quarter when they wasted 2 timeouts over 2 plays, one before a third down play and then again before fourth down.
Yeah, and they at least wasted 9 seconds. I mean, there should be at least 2 minutes on the clock right here.
We welcome those of you who have just joined us as Deshaun Wynn is stopped on a third down run, so the Redskins will get the ball back. They have no timeouts. Kenny Albert, Troy Aikman, Pam Oliver from Lambeau Field in Green Bay. 1.5 minutes remaining. Packers lead the Redskins 17-14.
And the good thing for Washington is that they're only going to need a field goal to tie, and they're going to get the ball with right around a minute left in this game.
Remember, the Packers have missed 2 field goals today, so their lead is only 3. Redskins will start from their own 20 following the punt of 55 yards, a net of only 35. So Brett Favre can only watch from the sidelines as Jason Campbell and the Redskins will try and march downfield and at least kick a field goal.
Yeah, I don't understand what happened, and you saw Brett Favre shaking his head. I mean, this has not been well executed football on either side. You know, that ball should not have been snapped until there was about 1.3 minutes left in the game. And so they rushed the snap, and now the 9 seconds that Washington gave up, they just got back from Green Bay because of the early snap on the punt.
4 wide receivers on the field for Washington. Campbell in trouble, wrapped up by Kabir Bajabia-Miller, got rid of it. Pressure from KGB, and the Redskins now facing a 2nd and 10. Clock stops with 1:08 remaining.
Well, here over the last several throws, Jason Campbell has been under enormous pressure, and you know, Kabir Bajabia-Miller just goes right through Chris Samuels, and he tries getting away from him, but just nowhere to go with the football underneath. But a good job by Jason Campbell. The one thing he cannot do with no timeouts here is take a sack.
Santana Moss not on the field. He's dropped a couple of balls. Aaron Campman, his 2nd sack of this 4th quarter.
Well, there's pressure on both sides, and now Washington has another offensive lineman. This time it's Stephon Hire.
They don't have any backups. on the offensive line.
Well, the only thing that they can do is that we were told that the defensive lineman who's active, Lorenzo Alexander, is also their emergency offensive lineman, so he would be the guy who would come in. Take a look at it. It's right here.
43 seconds.
Now they will run 10 seconds off the clock, Troy, because the Redskins do not have any timeouts left.
That's right.
So they run the clock down from 53 to 43 due to the injury and the fact that the Redskins do not have a timeout. Santana Moss in the third quarter stripped, returned 57 yards by Charles Woodson for the go-ahead score. Giving the Packers a 17-14 lead.
I mean, obviously that was a huge play in this game, and there's a lot of other big plays in this game that were not made, that aren't going to show up, but the coaches are going to know about them when they go in there and they watch, this game. And this is one of those games that, regardless of whoever loses, I mean, they're going to look back and say all the opportunities that they had to have won. And Washington just has been unable to do anything with the ball the last few times that they've had it, and now they're looking at another 3rd and long.
So Hire helped off as we check in with Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
Guys, if it weren't Roy and Bam.
What a game in Chicago. Here in Green Bay, Packers lead by 3, and Todd Wade, who injured his groin in the first half, Troy, is back in, replacing the injured Hire.
Well, it's a good thing. You don't know how healthy he is. I'm sure if he felt better than he did, he would have been in already. So he'll be worth keeping an eye on. He's working against Campman.
Couple of flags, couple of sacks for Campman the last 2 series.
False start. Offense number 66. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down. By rule, the clock is running. 10-second runoff. Please set the game clock to 20 seconds.
That's on the left guard, Pete Kendall, so the Redskins will lose 10 more seconds. Redskins moving backwards and losing time. They have no timeouts. Third down and 17. Campbell firing, and it's deflected, broken up by Jarrett Bush. He was looking for James Thrash.
The only chance he had, Keenan McCardell was underneath, but because of the design of that route, the quarterback's really got to turn it loose pretty early. But Jared Bush, knowing exactly how far they had to get in order to pick up the first down, stayed on the deeper receiver, which is a good job on his part. And now it comes down to this, as far as at least keeping the Redskins with possession of the ball.
Redskins have to get to the 30 to get another play. They do not have any timeouts remaining. Campbell rolling to his right. He dumps it off to Betts. And Betts is tackled at the 24. Not enough for a first down. And the Green Bay Packers, with 10 seconds remaining, will take over on downs as they will raise their record to 5-1 heading into their bye week, while the Redskins will drop to 3-2.
You know what's interesting about this game, Kenny, is coming into it, I really felt that by the time the game ended, we would have a much better feel for the Washington Redskins and the Green Bay Packers as far as where they are and where they stack up against the other teams in this league. I got to tell you, I don't have any better feel now than I did when we came into this game. I don't know that Green Bay does either.
But in any event, they are now 5-1. Campman with a couple of big sacks. Redskins will host Arizona next week. Washington now 3-2. A 17-14 victory for the Green Bay Packers. Charles Woodson with the game-winning touchdown. Our UPS leaderboard, Jason Campbell, 217 yards in the air. Chris Cooley, career-high 105 yards receiving for the Redskins. UPS, what can Brown do for you? coming up after these messages. Kurt Menefee and the boys from Los Angeles. For Troy Aikman and Pam Oliver, this is Kenny Albert saying so long from Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin.